Okay. In the 1940s, a group of Russian researchers sealed 5 prisoner inmates in an airtight chamber. The prisoners were dosed with an experimental gas that would prevent them from sleeping. Their conversations were electronically monitored, and their behavior was observed through secret two-way mirrors. For the first few days, everything seemed fine, but after the 5th day, they slowly began to exhibit signs of stress. They became paranoid, stopped talking to one another, whispering about each other into the microphones. 9 days in, the screaming began. 2 of the sleepless prisoners just started running around the chambers, yelling so hard their vocal cords nearly broke. Suddenly, however, the voices stopped, and the chamber became dead quiet. Fearing the worst, the researchers announced that they were opening the chambers, but a voice from inside said, "We no longer want to be freed." On the 15th day, the stimulant gas was replaced by fresh air. The results were chaotic. 1 inmate was dead. The inmates had been severely mutilated, flesh torn off their bodies and stuffed into the floor drain. They seemed to have ripped open their own abdomens and even eaten their own flesh. They refused to leave by force, fighting back with a powerful aggression none of the researchers could have imagined they possessed. They fought ferociously against being removed and anesthetized. One even tore his own muscles and ripped his bone apart during the struggle. When asked why they had mutilated themselves, each gave the exact same answer: "I must remain awake." The researchers wanted to kill the prisoners and remove all traces of the experiment, but the commanding officer demanded it to be resumed immediately, with the researchers joining the inmates in the sealed chamber. Horrified, the chief researcher shot him point blank. He then shot and killed the last 2 surviving subjects and set about covering up all that had taken place. In The Art of War, Sun Tzu wrote that speed is the essence of war. While he, of course, did not have amphetamines in mind, he would have no doubt have been impressed by their powerful war-facilitating psychotic effects. Amphetamines, often called pep pills, go pills, uppers of speed, are a group of synthetic drugs that stimulate the central nervous system, reducing fatigue and appetite, increasing wakefulness and a sense of well-being. The quintessential drug of the modern industrial age, amphetamine arrived relatively late in the history of mind-altering substances, commercialized just in time for mass consumption. During World War II by the leading industrial powers, that war was not only the most destructive war in the human history, but also the most pharmacologically enhanced. It was literally sped up by speed. Few drugs have received a bigger stimulus from war, as Leston Gisbon said. Peter Helbland wrote in the classic 1975 study, The Speed Culture, World War II probably gave the greatest impetus to date to legally, medically authorize, as well as illicitly black market abuse of these pills on a worldwide scale. They have been doing this, look. Methamphetamine was a privileged exception. While other drugs were banned or discouraged, methamphetamine was touted as a miracle product when it appeared on the market in the 1930s. Indeed, the little pill was perfect Nazi drug. Germany awake, the Nazis had commended. Energizing, apt, confidence-boosting, methamphetamine played into Third Reich's obsession with physical and mental superiority. In sharp contrast to drugs such as heroin or alcohol, methamphetamines were not about escapism pleasure. Rather, they were taken for hyper-alertness, vigilance. Aryans, who were the embodiment of human perfection to the Nazi ideology, could now even aspire to be superhuman, and such superhumans could be turned into super soldiers. "We don't need weak people," Hitler declared. "We want only strong people." Weak people took drugs such as opium to escape. Strong people took methamphetamine to feel even stronger. The German chemist Friedrich Hochschild, that's a weird name, Hochschild, had been aware of the American amphetamine benzidine ever since the drug had been used as a doping product in the Olympic Games in Berlin 1936. The following year, he managed to synthesize methamphetamine, a close cousin of amphetamine, while working for Temmler Werke, a Berlin-based pharmaceutical company. They began selling methamphetamines under the brand name Pervitin in the winter of 1937, partly thanks to the company's aggressive advertising campaign. Now, doesn't this all sound really familiar? The reason I'm talking to people about this is we have a problem here and in Europe that nobody wants to talk about, that the methamphetamines, it causes paranoia, and it causes you to lose everything in the end. I'm telling you, your health, your teeth, I watch it all the time. It's a very destructive drug. You can tell it's a very planned drug. It's a drug to keep you more the slave, keep you working longer hours as a slave. And then when they're done with you, well, it'll make you pathetically on the street or pathetically in a rehab. I have watched people struggle with this drug. It is a monster. I know they say heroin, cocaine, and I know those are very powerful drugs too. They cause a lot of problems, but this one here has been planned and made, tailored for the people, to keep them submissive under the rule, to keep them paranoid and against each other. It's so easy to control people when you have them by the very thing they need to get out of bed or do whatever. And the worst, oh my goodness. So the newest thing is, because people can drink a shit ton of alcohol in this, I don't know why or how, but it just works that way. So then you got chemically altered states in your mind, and then you're ingesting alcohol, which has been proven. I mean, you look this shit up yourself, to cause brain damage. After a while, you will get brain damage. Yes. And, it doesn't get any better. They were saying that, hey, cannabis puts these to sleep. And that's such a lie. I would rather see every one of these people that are doing methamphetamines or drinking to smoke cannabis, I would, or eat it, ingest it, whatever. It's such a shame. We're losing such a great amount of people that are overstressed and overworked, that think that they must take a drug so they can be more overstressed and more overworked, so that they can buy some alcohol to try to get enough sleep by coming down off the alcohol. It's just a tragedy. And I watched some of the most intelligent people do this, and they don't realize after a while. It takes them a while before they hit bottom, before they decide that, this isn't really a good thing. And then it's almost like those people that they didn't want to come out of it. They needed to be in that altered state. And it is scary. I suggest you read that Russian experiment. It will horrify you. And it's horrifying to think that this industrial complex, this corporation, this pharmaceutical hell that we live in, these things are being pushed. These great experiments. And, it's all on Germany. No, it's Russia too. And, I keep hearing, Russia's been a great place. Really, you need to read about Siberia, and where they send people that didn't agree with them, and how they were having to cannibalize each other to live, because they were thrown in a place that was so cold, and there was nothing to eat, no way to grow food or anything. So it's all the same thing. This is what I can't seem to get across to everyone. This is worldwide. This is not America, Russia, Canada, Mexico. It is them and then you. Do you understand? There is the haves and the have-nots. And so the haves have decided that not only will the have-nots have not, but they will be high when they are having not. And you know what? Don't fall for that shit. There is so much more in this world to see and do and to live without being that medicated and without being under the control, because that's what it is. You're just letting them control you with the drug. And you know, like everything else, they laugh. They laugh at you. They're laughing at me. They're laughing at you. Anytime we fall in with their bullshit, they laugh because it is their plan. So, I suggest you do a blood over intent. Write on a piece of paper, I intend to bring forth heaven on earth for the benefit of all. Put a drop of your blood on it. Publish it to YouTube. Tag and title it Blood Over Intent. See if you can't change your world. If you're having a problem like this, let me tell you what. I have found a lot of people that were alcoholics do mushrooms. Cannabis doesn't seem to work on them as well. But cannabis works really well on the opioids. But I'm sure with methamphetamines, it's probably the same thing. Either a combination of cannabis and mushrooms, or the mushrooms. They even got clinics for it now, you guys. We need to wake up. And it doesn't just mean just waking up. It means you have to do it sober sometimes. And you know what? Take some time to think about what you're doing and look at what you're doing. And don't let them control you, because this is a control thing. It's just like when the Contras and they were flying in cocaine, and were they not distributing it to people who were down and who felt bad? And so they gave them what? Crack. And keep them happy with some crack. I'm telling you, I watch it, and you can just look back in history and see. But you have a way out. And I hate the hopelessness that I see with this drug. I hate it. I hate the young people that I see losing their teeth. Oh my gosh, they look like they're 40, 50 years old, and they're 20 and 30. It just ravages them. And the alcohol, killing them brain cells, you know? I guess a lot of people have a lot to spare. But you know, a long time ago, I decided that alcohol was not the thing for me. Not only was it not the thing for me, I had 6 ulcers in my esophagus. And it stopped me from drinking. So maybe the goddess woke me up. I don't know. But it's just a tragedy. And it just makes me very sad that while we're trying to escape or get a little more energy and everything, it's just playing into what they want. And so I hope you guys will look up these experiments. Look and see what they're doing. Pay attention and talk to each other. You know, if you know somebody needs help, get them help. You know, talk to them. Say, you know what, there's another way, there's a better way. Do something different. Don't do the same thing over and over again, because that's what's happening. That is insanity. You know, it's time to wake up and then go to sleep, not stay awake. You have to sleep sometimes. 3 days, 3 nights without sleep will turn any human being schizophrenic. Look that up. I have seen it. I've seen it in this movement. I've seen it in every movement. I see it in churches. When I was going to church, I saw it a lot. This is sad. This is not helping your fellow man. This is not anything but them trying to take over control. And, you know, hey, if you're high, it's going to be a little bit easier. Just so you know.